People have said that I was persistent or something. I think I'm adventurous, trustworthy. Let's see, what else? A little bit above average intelligence, fairly well educated, not real great on making money, but not too bad. I'm smart enough to find and marry a good woman. As a child, okay, I climbed trees. I shot tangerine peelings with rubber bands at other kids. This was in Winter Haven, Florida. When, as a kid, I'm speaking of, the houses, a lot of buildings were built, they're built a long time ago with little laths and anyway, there were long little sticks that looked, you could make them into swords, and just fiddling, hitting each other and all that. What else? Because when you're that small, your neighborhood is not very big. You don't go very far from home. My mother and father had a rented apartment, according to the photo I can see, in Panama. Then we moved to a duplex apartment you want to know all these details? On Durand Drive in Fulton County between Decatur and Atlanta. Then we moved to Winter Haven, stayed there and we lived in two different places there on Avenue A South and Avenue A North near Lake Eloise, where we went swimming almost every day when it was warm. And then we moved back to the Atlanta area, to Decatur, Georgia, to 176 Superior Street. Then we moved to 525 Wyoming. No, it's across the street from the Wyoming School. Then we moved to Tallahassee, to 231 East 5th Avenue. Then we moved to 808 East 6th Avenue. Then we moved to 240 Lafayette Circle. And that's the last time they have moved. The only one I don't remember is Durand Drive. And I don't remember the house numbers in Winter Haven. From there on, I know them. I really enjoyed Florida State, especially the first few years where I was learning so many new things that were interesting to me. Mostly in the scientific field. Now, when I went there, I thought I wanted to be a doctor. In the first semester, one of the subjects I signed up for was physics. And it's got a whole lot of complex math in it. And I made a D in that. And that let me know that I shouldn't try to be a physician. But I did take some more. I took all the scientific, instead of general education. See, you can go two ways. You can take general education courses that are real general and not very specific, or you can take specific ones like biology or anatomy or chemistry or this or that. And so I stuck mostly with the specific ones. The only ones I can really think of, I did take physiology. Anyway, I enjoyed my first several years. I know I just it was just so much fun. I wasn't preparing myself to work. I was just satisfying my curiosity. I went into the Army after I graduated. I volunteered for the Army and came out and got a job at Florida State University. And I've been only working there about a month or two when they sent Anne Wells Bradbury to help me. She was about a junior in college. Helped me in my job at the Office of Educational Research and Service, which had one man working there and me helping him. And when she came there were three of us all together. Here's what the situation was at that time. That was when there was what they called the junior college movement. We didn't have any then. They were working up information about that. The other thing that was a controversy was the difference in salaries between the University of Florida and Florida State. Florida State had been a woman's college, and there was a long carryover of how they don't pay women as much as men. And so even though it's coeducational, there's a great disparity in the salaries of people who held equal positions. And that was one of the big things we did in that job, was doing a lot of work on calculators and adding machines showing the differences in salaries all through the university. That was 1954, 55. I don't know how we didn't ever, we published books on it. We got one over there that he published somewhere. Can you show it? Anyway, we left it up to the university officials to do whatever they could.
We were just doing research.
We were just doing research, just presenting facts. So we don't know to what extent they went to the legislature, or we don't know the follow-up of it. Now, we had men there. We got some men instructors, and they were paid less too, because the hangover.
That's an example of one of the things we published. But that's where the acknowledgments are.
She did all the typing there. When I was taking Spanish, I listened to the radio station CMQ from Cuba to learn Spanish. Here you can't get Cuban radio stations, but in Tallahassee you could, because there was no land hardly in between. Went across the Gulf of Mexico, 34, 40 miles overland to Tallahassee, and it was good reception. Well, I learned the commercial. Fume Loki, or Tome Phillips Magnesia, and what else? Cigarros modernos son más suaves y más sabrosos. Yeah. So that's only, I didn't listen to radio because too busy studying. Studied till nearly 10. I got to start out by saying my mother and father knew each other in Atlanta because she was in library school and he worked for Dixie Culver and Metal. She lived in a boarding house and he took his meals there, and that's how they got acquainted. How it ended up that she got to be a librarian in Panama for the U.S. government, and how he became a salesman selling culverts to governments for roads and airfields in Central and South America. We'll have to leave that alone. But anyway, they got engaged. I don't know, maybe they weren't engaged, and maybe they was really close to it. But anyway, my father would travel from country to country to country, and he would stay usually at the same hotel in each town or country. So he went to this one, and it'd be about a year between times. So he stopped, registered at this one hotel, and oh, Mr. Morgan, we have a telegram for you, a cablegram for you.
Where is this?
I don't know what town it was.
Okay. Columbia?
It probably was, yeah. And so the telegram was from Selma Wacker, my mother. It said, Tom, have cold feet. Let's forget serious part. Now, she's the one that told me this story. Anyway, when he showed up about 6 months later back to see her, he didn't say anything about having gotten the telegram. And she thought, or was it that he hadn't gotten it yet?
Well, he hadn't gotten it, but the next
I
time
got the story told wrong.
So
He hadn't gotten it yet. Then
they were already married by the time he got it.
That's right. She's telling the story like it really was, that they got married, and then the next time he went around to that town, he read the thing where she said she didn't want to get married.
So they were already married, and he went to the same hotel again?
Yeah.
She thought when he came back and didn't say anything about it that maybe
He liked her so much he was just going to ignore it. And so,
Wow.
yeah, I've forgotten how the story went. They were already married when he went to that hotel. Oh, we got a telegram. Dear Tom, have cold feet. Let's forget stories.
How much longer was that? How much later?
year.
The next year.
About a year
And
later.
what did he do for a living again?
He was a salesman for the Dixie Culver and Metal Company. They got their material from Armco, American Rolling Mill, corrugated. You see them all the time. Corrugated steel pipes with galvanized pipes. At that time, it was the 1920s and 30s when the airplane was coming into use and the automobile coming into use, and so they were building roads and airfields that needed drainage. These were under roads and
So he was a
training.
busy guy.
Yeah, he was. He was very successful because he knew Spanish and it was the right time. He was the right guy at the right place at the right time. It was a 1936 Ford, four-door, black. Was it 36? I don't have a picture of it to show you right away. I've got one somewhere, but and that album that I say is my stuff. In the closet, there is a photograph of that 36 Ford. But a 36 Ford had a V8 engine. It had mechanical brakes, it didn't have hydraulic. A Ford was the first automobile to have V8 engines. All the rest of them were straight sixes or straight eights. It was popular with people that like mechanical things. Very popular. It was about 1951. Still in college. It had been a one-owner car. It belonged. A girl my age was named Delilah Ashmore. Her father owned a drugstore. That was his car, so it had been well preserved. Oh, I didn't buy it from Ashmore though. I bought it from a friend of mine, Billy Young, who bought it from Ashmore. Then he sold it to me.
How much did you pay for it?
$275. Had a good time with it. It was fun to own.
What was your job in the Army?
I was a dental technician.
How'd you get that position?
I don't know.
They just picked
Well,
you.
no, I do know. They picked boys or young guys who were fairly well educated. They wanted people who had some sort of linguistic ability so that when the dentist said something, they could learn the medical terms and write and read and be compatible with a professional man, even though that's how we were picked. But let me tell you how extensive the interview was. They studied our backgrounds. So this guy named Captain Paulino, I went to the clinic and said, well, Corporal Morgan, what do you think about being a dental assistant? I said, well, I guess I could hold the cup while they spit. That was the end of it.
But you did okay, I guess you
Yeah,
did.
they
I can
took
imagine.
me. I believe in fighting for what you want or what you're entitled to or what you want. To get what you want, you got to fight for it. That's the one thing I've learned through life. It's a wonderful, the world itself as a physical thing is just a marvel. It seems awful bad, but it's no worse than it. It'll always be like, people just like to fight. Well, there'll be the advancement of technology. I do think the internet has had a very positive effect on us here in the United States, and it will continue to have a good effect because all throughout the world, because man, as I say, man is a social animal. We do better if we can interchange with each other. As individuals, we can barely make it. But if you get a bunch of us working together, we do pretty well. And the internet is just great for that. That's what I think. I think it'll have a beneficial effect knowing things can't hurt you. A lot of people want to censor it, but it just can't hurt you to know something. Anytime, I like to talk. So that's it.